Hello, everybody. It's George from Ireland. Welcome back to my channel. I'm commenting on Louise Haigh. Methinks that's how her surname is pronounced. The Labour Cabinet Secretary who resigned on Friday. So Miss Haigh is the first person to resign from the current Labour government. And it all relates to having been found guilty of a petty matter of fraud 10 years ago. It seems to me that it was an honest mistake on her part, as she maintained at the time. So it all goes back to her work mobile phone. She was mugged. I don't think anyone doubts that part, and various items were taken. She reported items stolen in 2013, one of which was her work phone. But then Aviva, the insurance company she's working for, found that actually it was still live, otherwise I think it would have been disabled, and in her possession. So she subsequently realized a mistake that actually her phone hadn't been taken. It was other items that had. She was charged. She pleaded guilty before the magistrate's court and granted a conditional discharge, which is really no punishment. There's an absolute discharge, the only thing beyond that. Conditional discharge meaning so long as you do nothing wrong for the next year or 2 years or whatever it is, there'll be no penalty whatsoever. Not a penny has to be paid in a fine. No, not a minute of community service. Certainly going nowhere near any penitentiary. So that's her. The 37-year-old. She's the youngest woman ever to serve in any cabinet. So I do feel a bit sorry for her because it just seems to be an honest mistake, which she maintains. And that's surely reflected by the slap on the wrist sentence awarded by the court. I think her mistake was not to plead not guilty. Go for broke, in which she very likely would have been found not guilty. Nobody suggested she gained by this pecuniarily. Perhaps having realized a mistake that the work phone hadn't been taken, she ought to have informed the police sooner. So that's it. But even if she had deliberately made a false claim about the mobile phone to make a couple hundred quid, okay, bad, shouldn't have done that. My immediate reaction when I heard about this was, okay, she's not such a bad person. She could still have a political career. And that's when I assumed that she really was trying to commit fraud of a few £100s, which is wrong, which is I don't condone. But there must be forgiveness. And if someone has done wrong and committed a crime, that person serves a punishment, and once the penalty is paid, the debt to society is discharged, and he or she must be allowed to move on. Do we want bad people to turn good or not? I do. Of course, I want to allow rehabilitation, and there must be a chance for forgiveness. And yeah, so surely she has absolution, and there she is trying to achieve something good as she perceives it, attempting to serve her community. Those who have a past must have a future as well. And we've seen this in Northern Ireland, where Sinn Féin, which was the IRA with the balaclava off, which was a terrorist organization guilty of all sorts of violent crimes at an enormous scale, that they've been allowed into government and served in cabinet posts. Right, and most people think that's absolutely essential. And what she did is like just not even a drop in the ocean compared to that. So Louise Haigh, she's still going to be an MP. The question people are asking is what did Sir Keir Starmer know and when did he know about it? The things that people I think have done things done more unethical, whilst cabinet ministers that I would have got rid of rather than her. But he says, oh well, you know, we've got to have this unblemished reputation for probity. His own probity is obviously severely impugned. So she used to be a public policy manager when she was subjected to a very, very frightening incident when she was mugged. Was at knife point, at gunpoint? I don't know. And the particular offence was making a false report to the police. A solicitor suggested she plead guilty, which she did. I think she should have disregarded that. But that didn't stop her being elected to Parliament in 2015. It all comes down to whether this was a spent or an unspent conviction. A spent conviction is sufficiently petty, sufficiently long time ago. It doesn't come up on a basic DBS disclosure. People like me have got an enhanced DBS disclosure that anything the person's ever been convicted of, or any cautions, even information disclosed at Chief Constable's discretion is there. Even nobody's ever been convicted of a crime, charged of a crime, the police can still say she has something damning anyway to ruin a person's reputation. So this would have been spent, and that was fine. It was spent. There's only unspent things came up. And just because somebody stole once doesn't mean that person's a thief forever. Surely there has to be some sort of mercy and forgiveness. She thought she'd done enough when she told Sir Keir Starmer about this when the party was in opposition. But anyway, it surfaced in the media on Thursday evening. She was given short shrift. Anyway, what's her name? Miss Haigh then resigned quite soon. There's been the exchange of letters. Now, the Conservative Unionist Party's tried to make hay with hay. don't forgive the pun, and she didn't uphold the high standards in public life that I'm aware of. All right, she was in charge of a budget of £60 billion. There are people who say there were others in the Labour cabinet who had it in for her. The knives were out of her for her because she approved a 15% rise in railway drivers' pay. This I'm not sure about, because the train companies are private companies like Southern, Southwestern, what is it, Great Northeastern Railway, ScotRail. Maybe she's only transport in England. I'm not sure of the whole United Kingdom. And that brought these strikes to an end, which had plagued transport for about 5 years. I mean, not every day, but 1 or 2 days a week, particularly on the weekends. Sometimes there's a service running at all, it'd be half the usual frequency. It's just a bloody nightmare for the commuting public, which particularly hit the lower paid workers who had to work in person, blue collar people who can't do it online. If you're an accountant or a banker or loads of things, a financial advisor, a solicitor, you can often do it from home. Is the people that do the working class jobs, they've got to be physically present. So that's it. She's gone. Is it because of what she said about P&O ferries and things like that? So she was a shop steward for the trades unions for a long time. She represents the Sheffield Heeley constituency. I don't think this really undermined faith in Louise Haigh there. And I think the first person to have her hair dyed such a bold color, just that sort of bright red, well, tending towards pink. So I think she'll probably be back in cabinet soon. Think of other things other people have done, like Yvette Cooper, the Home Secretary, accepting free tickets to a Taylor Swift concert. And then she approved her to have a police escort. Now, this I don't quite understand, because methought that operational decisions are made by the police. Otherwise, it's politicized, interfered, arrest this person, don't arrest my mate. Yes, a police escort for someone who's done a favor for me, but no police escort for someone who's in greater danger just because I dislike him or whatever it is. So I could be misled about this, but certainly people having their clothes paid for, free accommodation for Sir Keir Starmer and other people, tens of thousands of pounds for Bridget Phillipson's 40th birthday party and things like that. None of which is anybody suggests this is criminous, but do they make themselves beholden to people? Are they going to expect preferential treatment in return for these douceurs? They're not giving it out of the kindness of their heart. They're expecting some payback in kind, if not in cash. So it could be an exchange of favors. It could be to sway judgment, even if it doesn't influence the executive's decision making. There's the appearance of it. A return to Lord Hewitt's dictum of 1928: justice must not only be done, it must manifestly and indubitably be seen to be done. Is the appearance of bias, is the appearance of preferential treatment, even if there is an actual bias of preferential treatment. So Louise Haigh, I wonder how much sympathy there is in the Labour backbenchers, but everything's going wrong for Labour. Sir Keir Starmer, less popular than Donald Trump. I thought, to show continuity rather than Tory chaos, he would seek a second term, lead the party for 4 or 5 years into a next election and try and continue. But he's so unpopular, I suspect he'll bow out. After 5 years, he'll be 67, retirement age, and hand over to one of the top people in Labour, either the Deputy Prime Minister, the Home Secretary, the Chancellor Exchequer, or indeed the Foreign Secretary. None out of the 4 are white males. So almost certainly the next Labour leader and probably Prime Minister is therefore a woman, 3 out of 4 chance, or a non-white person, 1 out of 4 chance. Right, thank you for watching my channel. Make sure you subscribe on Patreon, donate to PayPal, georgecallahan79@gmail.com. Goodbye.